morning and welcome to 5 Minutes a Day with Annamarie Valles. Whether this is your first time that you just found us or you are a regular subscriber, I encourage you to, if you just found us, to subscribe and keep joining us, because this is just a tool. It's just a tool to get us into the habit of going deeper into the Word. And if you are already a subscriber, tell others. Tell others who may be struggling, your Bible study, your friends who maybe might say, oh, I don't know how to get into the Word, or I'm living off the Air One or Caleb verse of the day, and that's all I'm doing, or just waiting for Sunday's message. Let's get into the Word together. Thank you. Good morning and welcome to Friday. Okay, so let's look at Luke 12, verses 13 to 21. The parable of the rich fool. Someone in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." Jesus replied, "Man, who appointed me a judge or an arbitrator between you?" Then he said to them, "Watch out. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in an abundance of possessions." And he told them this parable. The ground of a certain rich man, yielded an abundant harvest. He thought to himself, "What shall I do? I have no place to store my crops." Then he said, "This is what I'll do. I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones, and there I will store my surplus grain. And I'll say to myself, you have plenty of grain laid up for many years. Take life easy. Eat, drink, and be merry." But God said to him, "You fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself? This is how it will be with whoever stores up things for themselves, but is not rich towards God." All right, so what was happening here is the inheritance laws were pretty clear, but sometimes there was, maybe there was an issue. And so what happened is many times rabbis would be called on to make decisions about disputes regarding the religious law. And the inheritance laws were in the laws. So that's what this guy comes to Jesus, and he's basically saying, "Jesus, tell my brother to give me more money," right? And so Jesus does what he usually does, is he hammers the point with a parable. He's like, "Here's a story for you." And so he tells a story about this man who has all this wealth, and he just builds more wealth. And then that very night, he dies. And so Jesus saying, "Well, what did this wealth do for you?" Right? It just didn't do anything. Instead, you need to store up treasures in heaven and not on this earth. So what's happening here is Jesus is pointing out that this man, all he cares about is just his wealth, right? He's not concerned. He's not going to use his wealth to help the poor or to help others. It's just all about wanting to make himself richer. And so again, let's bring that to us. In the pursuit of the American dream, right? Are we just building more and more and more for ourselves? Is it all about the more? The bigger house, the better car, the better vacations? Is that what we're all about? Is just getting as much money as we can to just live our lives comfortably? And again, God's standards, his measurement, are not like ours. Living life as a disciple is not necessarily in pursuit of the American dream. That's kind of countercultural to the biblical. And it's not to say, don't buy houses, don't, work hard. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that our only focus? Or instead, are we shifting what will last for eternity? What will last for eternity, right? I had this friend who did, another friend who did everything right, and he went to the great school, he got a great job, and he said, is this all there is to it? Is this all that life is all about? I'm still empty. And it wasn't until he started serving the Lord. He still had his job and stuff, but he was getting really involved in youth group and loving on kids and walking alongside kids and living out his life for them and serving them and loving them and helping them follow God. And he used his money to, like, he would send probably 10 kids on mission trips in the summer, and if there was an issue, if kids needed scholarship, he would be right there. He was generous with his money. It wasn't about just making more money to invest for later. It was about investing in the kingdom now. So this is hard for us to hear when we want to compete, right? We live in this world, we want to compete with everybody else, and we want the more. But as we compete, as we run after the more, are we also running after the more to love on others, to share with the poor, to share with those who are needy, to share, to invest in missionaries, to invest in those that are reaching those with the gospel? So that is my word for us today, is let's store treasures up in heaven. When we go to heaven, let's look around and see all the people that we invested in, that so that they could be there and know Jesus as well. All right. See you next week.